Most men send goodnight texts like it's just another task to check off. A sweet sentence, maybe a random emoji, and done. One more attempt to be remembered. But here's the brutal truth. Being remembered isn't enough. You need to be unforgettable. And for that, copying quotes from the internet or pretending to be a broken poet just won't cut it. There's a silent, almost invisible art that separates ordinary men from the ones who truly leave a mark. And that art lies in mastering what most don't even notice. It's not about what leaves your mind. It's about what stays in hers. You can write something simple and still make her wake up thinking about you. Because in the end, it's not about what you write. It's about what she feels when she reads it. If you think you need to say a lot to make an impact, you're probably just talking too much. The right woman doesn't crave exaggeration. She craves presence. She craves a man with masculine energy, intentional speech, and mysterious confidence. And today, you'll learn how to send goodnight messages that don't just touch, they transform. From now on, every message is a key. And if used wisely, it'll unlock doors no goodnight beautiful ever has. 1. The message that doesn't sound like one. Most men still believe winning a woman over is about pretty words and grand declarations. But real silent attraction is born in what isn't said. That first goodnight text should carry a subtle kind of magnetic communication, the kind that says everything by saying almost nothing. Think of it like a soft perfume she only notices when the wind shifts, and suddenly it lingers. An example? Instead of the usual sleep well, princess, try this. Just saw something that reminded me of you. Good night. That's it. You've planted a subtle question and activated your strategic gaze. The silence that follows? Even more seductive. That's the difference between the average guy and the one who radiates stoic charisma. A man who uses this kind of speech is mastering what I call intentional language. He doesn't hand himself over. He drops just enough to be felt, not to manipulate, but to express inner control. That's where masculine power lives, in saying less and making it mean more. As if whispering, I could give you everything, but I'd rather you want to find it. This first message is more about energy than content. If it carries your commanding presence and mysterious confidence, you don't need to explain yourself. You just leave a trace, a clue, an unsolved riddle. And what happens to the feminine mind when faced with a riddle? She won't sleep until she figures out what she felt. Now let's talk about what you should never write. 2. What you should never say before bed. It sounds simple, but many guys ruin the connection with overly sentimental messages. The problem isn't showing interest, it's giving too much too soon. When a man texts, I thought about you all day, you mean everything to me, he's surrendering his emotional strength and choking the slow burn of attraction. The real power lies in balancing tenderness with calm authenticity. A goodnight message that works needs more subtlety than intensity. Instead of pouring your heart out, let silence speak. And if you do say something, keep it brief, but grounded in self-worth. For example, ever have someone pop into your mind uninvited? Yeah, good night. It hints without screaming. It activates her imagination while keeping your cards close. Men who master impactful language know that a woman's mind falls for space, not excess. Filling her inbox with hearts and desperation might seem sweet, but it kills the rhythm of subtle seduction. She needs to feel you're a man of centered masculine energy, not a boy begging for attention. That contrast changes everything. So remember, avoid emotional cliches, run from overexposure. Your presence should be light, but unforgettable. Words that say little, but say it right, are silent weapons in the realm of silent attraction. And when you master that, you begin playing a whole different game, which brings us to the next move, the strategic tease that flips everything. 3. The tease that plants a good kind of doubt. There's one thing the feminine mind adores, gaps. The unknown provokes, teases, creates room for imagination. That's where the man who understands the philosophy of flirting shines. He doesn't chase answers, he plants curiosity. And nighttime is the perfect stage. When you drop the right kind of tease, she goes to sleep with a question and wakes up thinking of you. This kind of tease isn't rude or vulgar. It's a subtle, elegant nudge that only a man with a strategic gaze can deliver. Something like, I held back from saying something tonight, you're not ready to hear it yet. Sleep well. That sentence is a slow-burning fuse. It doesn't explode, it builds anticipation. And if you pair it with inner control, you become someone she feels, even in silence. This kind of message only works when it comes from a man with solid masculine power. Because it's not just the line, it's the energy behind it. Said with insecurity, it sounds needy. Said with commanding presence, it becomes sweet poison. That's why you shouldn't try this until you've built genuine self-worth. Then you play with the advantage. Don't underestimate its effect. While other guys flood her with texts and emojis, you plan a quiet dilemma. And no matter how distracted she tries to be, it returns. In the shower, at breakfast, on the subway, a well-placed tease lodges itself as a recurring thought. And next, we'll learn how humor, when used wisely, can make your presence emotionally unforgettable. 4. The subtle humor that builds emotional connection. A woman might forget beautiful words, but she'll never forget someone who made her laugh at the right moment. Humor is a direct path to connection, but here's the catch. It's not about being goofy. It's that perfect dose of lightness, just ironic enough, that only a man with serene authenticity can pull off. A well-placed line before bed can melt defenses and link your name with a feeling of relief, and that's priceless. No need to turn into a stand-up comic. The secret lies in intentional language, tailored to the moment. For example, if I told you what I dreamed last night, you'd laugh and probably never text me again. Sleep tight, at your own risk. See? It's funny, a little provocative, and packed with magnetic communication. Her laughter comes mixed with curiosity, and curiosity is the seed of attraction. Men with Stoic charisma use humor like a scalpel, deep but clean. It's not about forcing jokes. It's about making her smile with elegance, without looking thirsty for approval. When she feels that, her guard drops, and you gain access to something rare, her emotional ease. That kind of memory sticks. Use this tool wisely. A poorly placed joke can come off childish, but a well-placed funny line, delivered with masculine energy and mysterious confidence, becomes pure charm. The more natural it feels, the harder it is for her to forget you. And next, we'll deepen this connection even further, with a powerful nighttime reflection that reaches her soul without sounding forced. 5. The nighttime reflection that reaches her soul. As night falls, the mind slows down and the heart starts to speak louder. That's when a message with emotional depth, without being cheesy, can leave a lasting impression. The key lies in balance, a phrase that makes her reflect, but doesn't sound like a lecture. Men who cultivate Stoic charisma know how to leave deep marks using few words and a lot of truth. This isn't about preaching philosophy. It's about planting a seed that will grow over time. Something like, sometimes we meet people who remind us who we really are. Good night, in case you forgot. Simple, strong, elegant. That's impactful language, and it separates the ordinary man from the one who understands the beauty of meaningful silence. But this only works if it comes from someone who lives with depth. You can't offer reflection if your life is shallow. Cultivate reading, solitude, art. Read Seneca, Rollo May, or even Rubem Alves. Meditate on your day before texting her. That's where inner control gives weight to your words, because what comes from the soul touches the soul. She might not reply right away, but the next day it'll return. While she's in traffic, or brushing her teeth, or sipping her coffee. That's where silent attraction lives, in what was said with emotional gravity, without neediness. And now, let's explore a rare and powerful tool, the unexpected compliment that changes everything. 6. The unexpected compliment that lowers her guard. Compliments are everywhere, but the unexpected ones, the sincere, subtle ones, those are rare. Most men stick to the obvious, beauty body smile. But a man with a strategic gaze knows that true attraction lies in noticing what no one else sees. It shows depth, awareness, and most of all, self-worth. It's like saying, I see you beyond the window display. Want to leave a mark? Try something like, you have that kind of calm that shakes my thoughts. Sleep well. Simple. Precise. Deep. This isn't about her looks. It's about her commanding presence. And that's what makes her heart skip a beat. Because deep down, she also wants to be seen on the inside. This kind of phrase can only come from someone with emotional strength. A man who isn't chasing points, just expressing what he sees, with subtle seduction. It disarms her, because it carries no demand for reciprocity. It's not about impressing her, it's about telling the truth, and that truth moves her. Few men know how to compliment with emotional intelligence. Most just recycle lines from the internet. But the man who owns his masculine power uses words like silent arrows. Not to wound, to reach. And once she feels that, your name won't leave her mind. In the next part, you'll learn how even absence can become a message that speaks volumes. 7. When silence says everything and she notices. Not every message needs to be sent. Sometimes absence is the most powerful language. And a man who's mastered verbal minimalism knows this. No reply, no text, no insistence is still a form of presence. Silence, when handled with grace, communicates interest with refined masculine energy. And when she notices you didn't show up, it's because your commanding presence already left a mark. This silence isn't rejection. It's intentional speech, minus the words. For instance, you've been chatting every night, and suddenly one night you say nothing. Then the next day, you reappear with a soft line like, "I went quiet last night. Sometimes absence takes care of us too. Did you sleep well?" That's all. A subtle explanation. And it triggers silent attraction in a way no cheesy line ever could. Most men fear disappearing for a night. They think they'll be forgotten. But a man with mysterious confidence knows better. He doesn't need to force presence, he's already built value. He disappears with purpose and returns with impact. That rhythm between presence and absence creates tension, suspense, and magnetism. She misses you without knowing why. That's where real desire grows, in the pause between what's said and what's still unsaid, in the silence between lines, in the unnecessary. That's where longing is born. And in the next and final move, you'll see how to end the night with elegance and a lasting impression. 8. The ending she'll want to relive. Every good night can be the beginning of something, or the end of everything. A man who understands impactful language knows that the last impression is just as powerful as the first. A closing message doesn't have to be fancy, but it must have class. It should leave her wanting more, like finishing a book and flipping right back to the first page. Here, less is more. The point isn't to impress, it's to linger. Try something like, "Sleep well, and dream of me however you like. I promise not to interrupt." It's charming, free-spirited, with a hint of humor. It stirs desire without force. This is the kind of subtle seduction that speaks straight to the subconscious. Done right, it becomes a sensory memory. A man who uses this kind of close is someone with self-worth, and he knows it. He doesn't ask for validation or wonder if it landed. He just finishes with elegance, like handing over a gift and walking away. That posture comes from inner control, from knowing that strength doesn't lie in her reaction, but in your calm confidence. A well-placed closing line is like the last puzzle piece in an emotional game. She'll feel like something just clicked, and yet, she'll want to start again. That's the secret, to make every good night feel like a hidden invitation to the next chapter. Now you hold something most men don't, awareness. Every good night text you send from now on will carry presence, strategy, and above all, masculine power. But more importantly, they'll come from a man who stopped chasing and started being remembered. The question is, will you use this or forget it? Because knowledge without practice is like having a key and never unlocking the door. So before you sleep tonight, ask yourself, which of these messages reflects your essence? Which of these moves reveals your self-mastery and intentional speech? If you were her, would you reply? Now tell me in the comments, which of the 8 messages surprised you the most? Or better yet, which one are you going to use first? Drop the phrase, "She won't forget this night," in the comments, just so I know you're not just watching, you're in the game. And of course, if this video made you think, helped you grow, or even made you smile, like it, share it with a brother who needs to learn how to move with class, subscribe, and hit that bell, because we still have so many good conversations ahead, and a lot more to understand about women.